Well, good morning, strangers.
Good morning.
Not really strangers, because y'all are still giving us tons of support on the other channel. But, yeah, we're sitting here this morning, and it's cold.
46. I looked.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm wrapped in a blanket. Crazy. It went from, like, sauna to...
Well, that's the shift change this time of year. Because I was looking in, and so, yeah, right now it's 46. It's going to be up to 82 today, though.
Oh, that's nice.
So, what a shift change.
Yeah.
But it's been that way for... maybe
4 days.
Yeah, not quite a week, but...
Because yesterday morning, I woke up at like 3 a.m. I was so cold. All the windows in the camper were open. And I was chilled to my core. I could not get warm. I doubled up blankets. I snuggled up to him. I was so cold I could not go back to sleep. And yeah, no good.
But we've been, those of you following the main channel, we lost the AC in the old Nugget here. So been having some issues there. So we just leave the windows open, which...
mostly wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, we're not in the camper during the day other than to maybe grab some food or something like that.
Or, things like that.
And so when it's warm during the day, to be hot in the camper is not a big deal. And so you naturally, hey, what do you do to try to help offset is leave your windows open. Well, when it's getting down in the 40s and 50s at night.
Too cold.
Which I slept great. I prefer... which is, well, it's not weird because there's a lot of people that way. I'd rather the room be cold while I'm under the blankets because it makes you be more in. But there needs to be like a transition of, hey, warm it up right before you got to throw the blankets off because I don't want to be up in the cold. But I sleep really, really good when it's that way. But
not me.
It's hard when the whole thing, you feel like you're in an earthquake because she's over there shivering so hard.
Yeah, I'm definitely a warm-bodied person. I can't handle the cold. So,
yeah.
But we thought we'd jump on here this morning and give y'all an update. Got a lot of messages asking about how Dad's procedure went. And so I guess we'll start there.
Yeah, because it's been a couple weeks, guys. You all understand and we appreciate it. Just the chaos, the back and forth. Plus, we had a pretty rough week last week. And, we had other plans, and the truck decided it wasn't going to go along with those plans. And it's been busy helping. Yeah. And so I think we're on the uptick of those things. But
yeah, Dad's
still around.
Yeah. So Friday we went in for his heart cath procedure. And the surgeon asked to see us, fairly quickly. So we were like, but it was unsuccessful. The cardiologist tried twice to cath the RCA, and he could not get a clear path. So it was an unsuccessful heart cath. But so we were battling, okay, that was defeating, but he said that there was a heart surgeon who was actually there that day doing procedures, and he felt that he wanted to get this heart surgeon's consult. And if you guys followed us for long enough, you all know that the first heart surgeon and cardiology group had said that surgery was not an option. And so we waited, and that new surgeon came in, and fairly quickly, actually, within a couple hours of...
Yeah, 'cause he was actually in procedures. He had like two procedures at the hospital that day, and of course the specialist we had seen, the doctor, knew that he was in there. Yeah. And said, hey, I'm going to shoot him some messages and get him some initial information to see. And then when he's either in between procedures or done with his procedures, he could come see you because the other part was, even though the cath wasn't successful for that day, because it was an intrusive procedure, right? They foreign objects into the
Yeah,
body.
they had to keep him for
and
4 hours
dad's
lying flat, blah, blah, blah.
dad's condition and stuff. They wanted to make sure, so they were holding him for observation for a good part of the day, anyways. So they said, "Hey, we're gonna have a couple preliminary."
Words are hard.
Words are hard. Preliminary tests, and the other surgeon did have some time to kind of go. I think he basically went over the notes from that doctor and said, "Hey, this is what I know, what I've seen." But obviously they're two different specialties, so they kind of look at different things based on what their specialty is. In that second doctor, it was within a couple hours, I think, was able to come in.
He was able to come in, and he only has just a little bit of information at this point, right? Because he's not had an opportunity to like really study the case, just the notes and the video from the heart cath and things like that. So he wanted to run more tests. They did a carotid ultrasound. They did a pulmonary test, and then he has requested a cardiac MRI, and that should give us a better picture. He's hoping that the damage done to the LAD is not so severe that he may be able to do something. But so what he's able to do, we don't know yet, because we don't have all the test results back. But to hear that there's potentially someone who would be willing to take the case. And so right now we're just kind of like sitting on it. We're just doing our day-to-day stuff, because there's no sense in worrying about whether or not we're going to get the procedure, whether or not it qualifies for any surgical intervention, whether or not it'll be beneficial, the risks, things like that. So we're in a holding pattern.
And he did kind of say that even if he can go in and do, a bypass of some sort, he's hoping to be able to do both sides. But that's what the further testing is going to determine, is whether he can bypass one side or both sides, or what does that look like? And he needs a bigger picture on that.
Yeah.
And
because if he can do one side, so if he can do both sides, if he can do the LAD and the RCA, then we're looking at an improvement in symptoms as well as an extended longevity of life, right?
Right.
If he can't do anything with the LAD, but he can do something with the RCA, then we're not necessarily looking at a longevity of, an extension of his life, but an improvement in symptoms. And so until we have all the information and sit down and talk with the cardiac surgeon again, it's still kind of up in the air. So that's where we're at with that.
It's a lot more for those of us who aren't in the medical field and understand all these words and acronyms she throws out. But in the simplest of terms, at this point, I think either procedure, kind of talking to the surgeon, is going to be, it's more about quality of life than it is quantity.
But it could be quantity if he can do both sides.
Right. If he can do both sides, then there's a chance of quality and quantity, both.
Right.
Both, and that would be best case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And talking with Dad, it's one of those that so far with what information we've got with the doctor, and without having the further testing, but he's willing to proceed either way. A lot of his frustration, and we've had a lot of discussions with him, is the quality of life right now for him is aggravating, because he gets so tired and he's so weak. And, this isn't something that just came on. I mean, he's been dealing with his health issues for quite some time. Mm-hmm. How severe they were, we didn't really know that until earlier this year, because he's never shown any symptoms of having heart issues, so they've never looked at that. It was the other issues that...
Which were kind of, him going septic was not a good thing, because that could have been very, very bad in and of itself. Mm-hmm. But that led us down the trajectory of multiple other issues where his heart problems were found. So, everything can be a blessing if you look at it like that. Uh, but, and we've had a lot of talks to you about, back and forth and that's why I just kind of like, we're just not going to, we can talk about the what ifs and I'll calm his fears or answer all the questions. Because coming here, I said that, I won't lie to you. I won't sugarcoat anything. From a medical perspective, from what I know as a nurse, which isn't everything, guys, and I was not a cardiac nurse, right? I took care of people post surgical, but I didn't, I wasn't in on that beginning. And even though, yes, nursing terms are all the same and medical terminology and things like that, but as far as I wasn't a cardiac nurse, so
Yeah.
I'm learning new things too, but I do, and I've kept it straight with them and tried to be that anchor that kind of keeps them from either going panicked one way or super optimistic the other way, or things like that. So
I want to loosely, I guess, or because it's not a light term necessarily, but it's put him, the initial put down, right? Not only did it physically slow him down, but I think kind of the depression of not having the ability to do it had really caused him to be immobile. He wasn't using and we reminded him, was like, look, everyone tells you the cliche saying of if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
And he's living it right now, of the fact that he wasn't up being active because he's like, well, I just don't feel good, or the multitude of symptoms and excuses that you could have. And so he was very
hard on himself.
well, right. And so now, I mean, the blessing is with giving him some hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that can go a long ways.
And he's feeling better anyway, because
and he feels better when he gets up and around.
Yeah, and the medications are helping his heart work better, and so his color's better. And it's a lot for him to walk long distances, but he'll come out in the mornings and stuff and walk up the hill and get that movement going, and he's feeling better. And we noticed when we weren't here, when we were getting the truck fixed and stuff, he kind of went, wasn't getting out as much. And we try to take him places and do things, and we got some fun things planned coming up. I really wanted to take my dad fishing, but out-of-state fishing licenses, guys? What? No,
Yeah.
I'll take him for a fish dinner. So there's things like that, and things that we wanted to get done, and in all actuality, it's really difficult to do all those things. But that's the update on Dad.
And I think there's a reality with a lot of that too, even on ourselves. We came with ideas and plans of getting a bunch of stuff done, but then kind of reality had to settle in and really knock us a little bit, and realize that those are very ambitious things. And it wasn't the fact that we couldn't do them, right? Or that we're not gonna do them, because they're still on the list of things that we want to get done. But what slows us down with some of that stuff is we want him involved. It's one thing to come and just take over and, hey, you tell me what to do and I'm gonna get it all done. But he wants to be involved also.
Yeah.
And so that's really, we kind of had to swallow the reality pill of our energy levels and ambitions are much higher and active than what he can handle. And even if we want him involved, and we're like, we'll put a chair up here, and he does for the most part. He'll come out and do things, but then
it's
he
a
needs to
double-edged
rest.
sword, because then he's talked about how, sometimes that's defeating. Even like watching us do something, because he wants to jump in,
Yeah.
he wants to do those things, and then that's defeating onto him. So, it's a hard balance, and we're
It is. And
we're trying to do different projects, and we've got lots of stuff in the pipeline that we've worked on and that we've done, and I'm slowly getting back on the 2 video a week schedule. Trying to do that really hard, but I think I underestimated and I'm going to be frank here, and I'm going to be honest, and that's why we have this channel, right? I underestimated the mental toll that this was going to take on me. I'm struggling daily, it seems, for all the reasons. And if I guess I wouldn't be struggling if I was to be able to perfectly articulate everything and the emotion and, you know, everything I'm going through. You know, not just like, I can go into nurse mode and be fine. I can go into daughter mode and be fine. Blending those two can sometimes be hard. What I'm really struggling with is I really miss home. I know we're where we need to be. I'm enjoying my time as daughter and as a nurse, but I really want to go home. Really, really bad.
And knowing that that drive, I mean, we both have talked about this in length, and it'll continue to be a conversation, guys, because there's no place like home. And, you know, we know we left it in good hands to where most of what we left is going to be there when we get back.
The final 3 chickens didn't make it. They got hit.
Yeah, so it's one of those that, you know, our animals are down, you know, the garden seemed to have still done pretty well and produced. I mean, the
freezer's full.
The freezer that we left and said, hey, you know, pick as much of the vegetables and everything as you can and just put them in bags and freeze them.
Yeah, and Missy and Eric, you know, they've taken some
David
harvest
and them
when
took
they
a little bit
David,
from there.
Jess and Ryan, they've been able to take a few things from there. I don't know how much, but
but it's one of those that no matter what you do and how well you, I guess I'll use the word train, right? Or teach somebody else how to take care of your things, it's still not you. It's not going to have the passion into it. It's not going to have the care. It's not going to have... And we don't fault them. I mean, we left the 3 of them at the Ridge, and
they're doing a great job, you know.
And they work.
They're working together, too, and so that's really important.
Yeah, it definitely has created the 3 of them where they were all but living 3 separate lives, different than even our life.
Yeah.
And now they've had to come together and realize, okay, we can... And it might be, I mean, we really haven't had that conversation with them, and probably won't until we get home, is our lifestyle something that they really want to look into, or are they fine just, you know what, instead of being out here in the woods with the animals in the garden and all these chores, like, I just want an apartment somewhere where I go to work, come home, you know, sleep, and go to work and hang out with my friends on the weekends.
I mean, I think there's a sense of, I mean, I can't speak for all of them, but, you know, as far as Jake and Jenna go, they grew up on a homestead. So I think there's a level of comfort there, even if they didn't remember or realize the actual work that it took. So,
and I think for Aunt Swami, it's one of those, and she said this already, was it's made her do more than she thought she was actually even capable of.
Yeah. So she's got a lot of pride in that, even though she had the setback with the shoulder and everything.
And we're working on getting the logistics of, they've gotten some footage of things that they've done over there, and we're still working the logistics of getting that footage to us. There's file systems and networks and stuff like that, and
FTP, FP, VPN. I don't know. That's Jake and Jason. I'll just give
Ryan,
me the files.
Ryan,
and Ryan. The 3 of them are working together, trying to, you know, expedite that footage, getting it to me so that I can get it put into video for y'all, and we're working on that.
But kind of back to the missing home thing, and it's one of those that it's ours, you know, and we built it of what it is and want to maintain it. And we know, like, right, it was easy to say when we left, hey, we know no matter what, no matter how long we're gone, even if nobody was there and we had shut the homestead down completely, to come back, like, we have the time to rebuild or reestablish, you know, in our minds, we truly thought that, hey, airplanes, we thought that, hey, we could handle
being away.
being away, and
They're low.
wow, it's getting.
There's a ridge right there.
That might be. There is a guy that Dad and them have talked about that lives around here, and that's like a private plane, and he flies around all the time.
Yeah, it was a small one.
But yeah, so we really thought that we would be okay with it, and to an extent we are, right? We're still here, we're still doing it, but it's definitely taken more of a mental toll than either one of us were prepared for at the time.
Yeah.
So that kind of adds to the element of everything, and
And that's not to take away that we are having fun being here. You know, we enjoy being with family. We enjoy our time at Aunt Will and Uncle Jerry's and with my friend Deb, and, you know, here, and my stepsister Ron and Betsy. You know, we're taking the time and we are enjoying it, but that doesn't fill the heart with the struggle. Yeah, I can't articulate it completely.
yeah.
But I'm having a hard time pulling up my bootstraps and my big girl panties, and you know, yesterday was rough. We were kind of taking a rest day because we've been on the go so much, and then with Dad's heart cath and like letting it all sink in, and I tell you, I just wanted to crawl in bed and cry all day. Not cry over anything in particular, just the overwhelmingness of it all. But instead I made sourdough crackers and did laundry and edited a little bit, and I think it's just allowing myself that time to, but then that's not good because then I didn't take
Well, and the hard part right now is we still, well, it was an and. I can't believe you didn't feel it.
No.
Is the schedule of things. You know, like we come out here in the morning and we sit and we have our coffee and we watch the squirrels running through the trees and chasing each other, and some rabbits.
I don't have a garden to tend. I don't have my chickens to feed and
so
to sit and talk with. And
the getting up in the morning and getting going has been really slow for us. And we'll go to bed at night and we're like, all right, we're going to get up. We're going to do this. We're going to go. And when you walk out and it's not your things. It's not your home. It's not your property. It's not your views. You know, you don't think that it's going to affect you the way that it does until it does. And then you're like, okay, how do I change this? And I think that's the answer we're searching for in ourselves and in our hearts of...
I've even thought about coming home in this interim couple weeks as we're waiting on, you know, getting the MRI scheduled and, you know, that kind of stuff. It would be easy to say, well, let's just go ahead and go home for 2 weeks or something like that. But then I'm not here to... We're not here to keep Dad encouraged.
And it's 12 hours, y'all. It's not like...
Yeah, it's not like a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah, it would be different if we were at maybe a 6-hour, you know, window or something. But I mean, you're looking at with hauling a trailer and, you know, just everything. It's a 12-hour trip. It takes us 12 hours to get from here to home and vice versa. So it's not an easy just, you know, willy-nilly wake up, you know, get a phone call in the middle of the night and be like, fine, I'll drive the couple hours. Well, no, you've got to fully prepare for that. And
even when we come back in October, like, I'm already in my brain trying to plan, because I have to get garlic in when we're for those, and we're, even though we're going to be home for 3 weeks, we're only home for 1, and Jason's going to be gone for part of that, and I'm going to have a guest there for the other, because we're going to be over at Tilted Cays. Are they just doing loops or what? Nope. Maybe.
I don't know. He's going up.
Yeah.
I'm
But
not really sure where the airport
I've got to get
is around here.
the greenhouse covered. I have to get the garlic planted. I have to find a new place to plant the garlic, because yes, we've gone down that how we're going to rearrange things again road, because, you know, that's what we do. But
Well, and it makes sense. So knowing that we've had obviously a loss of all of our chickens, thankfully, Eric and Missy were able to go over and separate because I don't know what that was about. But yeah, thankfully they were able to go over and separate the 2 male goats from the females because they're getting at the point where they were getting a little frisky. And but since then, it was actually
Poor Waylon.
Yeah, one day after
we need
another.
We need to find a new home for Waylon.
Because he's there by himself. Because as you guys
separated.
have hopefully seen by now, that Mike did come over with David, and they got the 3 goats.
Yep.
And got them home, and they seem to be doing well.
Yep.
And enjoying their new homes and their new families, and that's awesome. I mean, that was a big thing for us.
Yeah, but I don't like Waylon being alone.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like being alone. And he doesn't understand why he has to be separate from his family. And, okay, I think he feels that way. I don't know if he feels that way. But, I don't like it. So I've asked Jake to get me some really good pictures of Waylon so that I can get him out on the boards to find him a new home. And then as soon as Dandy is weaned, Betty and Wilma, Dandy's going to go. That way all we have left is Betty, Wilma, and Emmylou. That's all we wanted.
Yeah.
It was 3 girls.
But part of our discussions, I guess, before we got sidetracked with that, was we know that we need to make some changes on the homestead of rearranging to make things more efficient and more long-term. And we've plotted with a garden that we've talked about it before, was the benefit right now. Well, really, it's the only way, unless we want to build a lot of structure, is doing it in the lick tubs because we can move it around. Well, we've definitely figured and plotted and planned with the land that we have available that is convenient for us, that we can use long term. That area where we do the garden now is where we want the garden. But
we need to make it a little bit more.
It needs to be more permanent. And we say permanent, like it's still going to be in lick tubs, guys. But we need to make where the greenhouse is a structure that isn't just the plastic. It's something that can have some longevity, but yet we can open the sides. And we've got some ideas and plans of what we want to do with that.
One I can easily heat with the wood stove in the winter,
right.
That kind of stuff.
And then putting all the lick tubs and raised beds if we're going to need to build some actual raised beds for certain crops, have them in a spot that we don't have to move them every single year. They're not in the way of, hey, we want to do this project or that project.
And we need to fence it in so that we can free range chickens when we get them back.
And that was the thing, was the big part was one step leads to the next step to the next step, right? And with us not having any chickens left at home, now is the time to redevelop, because we're going to have a new flock and we'll be able to train this flock. But we also know that we got to protect our garden from that new flock. And
it's nothing new. I think we talked a little bit about, or maybe I don't even know. But and one thing that, has really opened up Jason and my eyes. Did I say that right? Whatever.
Yeah.
It's great having a large property. It's great having all the things that we have, right? Until one day it's not. And you have all of it. And then it's either not future-proofed, or we've talked a lot about aging in place. And this has taught us, being here, because back in the day, this was nothing for my dad to take care of. This was the small side, but as we grow older and stuff, we're realizing that, this could be us in 20 years. And we don't want to have some of the challenges and the obstacles. So that's given us a lot of thought. My brain is done. It's mush.
Yeah, and we try, for the most part, I would say that we've done pretty well. And I think that that's what's held us up on some of these projects, was trying to think in the future as much as you possibly can about the aging in place. And being here definitely opened our eyes more than we planned for. but to things that we are glad we're experiencing and realizing now when we have time to make that change or to make that improvement. You know, when it comes to simple things, guys, like ground being level. You know, if we're at a point in our life where we can't walk stably, like, can we get in and out of there with a walker? Can we, you know, is it terrain that is okay to use a cane?
All I keep hearing is tears, make tears, because y'all, it's difficult having
not crying tears, guys, like level tears, because like our ground goes like this
garden
is
with some steps, or you know, because even everyone thinks, oh, ramps are great. Well, big things on ground aren't the same as like a ramp to a deck. It's a challenge, and you're walking up gravel and there's rocks and there's obstacles. So, but we probably should wrap this up, babe. It's probably going to be a really long one. I know that it's been a while since we've done one, and maybe that's our problem. Maybe if we were just doing these again daily, because they do help us talk. Because it's so easy it's easier for me, and I know it ain't right. Judge me if you will. And I know it's hard for you to believe that I sometimes won't even talk. I know y'all, and there was even a comment on our live that all Tara does is talk. I really don't. I'm fine if I don't want to talk. Just let me stay here. So I think it's good, you know, and I talk on camera a lot, I guess I do. Yeah.
Well,
but I don't
that's the
really
whole point
in
of the
real
filming,
life.
right?
In real life, I don't talk a lot. Jason talks 10 times more than I do. I'm fine just to, I used to call it recluse mode, where literally my friends would try to get a hold of me for 10 days, and I won't respond. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to, and I've gone through a lot of periods, at least once or twice a year like that, where that happens. And, you know, having Jason by my side, it's been a long time since I've felt like that. And so I really want to go into recluse mode, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I just want to just sit here and veg and not say a word to anybody. Don't talk, don't do anything. But so maybe it would be better if we did.
Well, and we had, with talking, going back to, you know, I looked before I pulled this up, it's been like 2 weeks since we put a video out on here. And part of it was we had stuff on the main channel. We had videos that we wanted out, and there's still more stuff to come out on it, but that's what was on our mind. And if we gave it all away here, then I don't know. It was hard, and I think it goes back to the routine. We've been back and forth. We're looking at trying to figure out a time of like getting back down to Aunt Willa's, because we did leave all of our canned yard food down there.
No, I don't have any jarred food.
Just because we had figured we would be back, and the back and forth and truck issues. So, but we appreciate all of you that are watching and listening and commenting. And more importantly, we appreciate all the prayers, because it's working, you know. You know, we're watching Dad get a little bit better. I mean, he's not out of the woods, and, you know, it's not going to be a full recovery no matter what. But if the hope, and we know that, you know, everything's in the hands of the prayers and God and what He chooses to do. And there's a rhyme and reason why we're here, and we're just going to keep doing the great things that we try to do and strive for every single day. And y'all's love, support, and prayers are what keep us going every single day. And we're gonna try to get back on a regular with this. You know, maybe a few days a week. Can't guarantee every day of the week.
They won't all be this long. Sorry, guys. I really was not. I was going to cut it at like 20 minutes.
But this has been, I mean, it's 2 weeks of stuff that we needed to talk about and just get off our chest. So we appreciate it. And guys, share it out. But throw the comments. We're trying to stay up on them still. And
they're slow.
yeah. So we'll see ya.